Good morning, students. This is a lecture on copy editing. In the last lecture, we talked about copy editing and we tried to define this concept copy editing, and also we discussed the role of copy editor. Hope it is clear. So now we move to the next topic, that is typescripts. So what is a typescript? In copy editing, the word Typescript is used to describe the material that the copy editor works on, whether it is a word processor printout, it can be a typewriter produced copy, or electronic files. So, the material on which the copy editor works on is known as a typescript. And there are different stages in book publishing. So the first stage, it is of course planning and writing the content, and it is done by the author or a group of authors. And when it comes to the second stage, we see the draft of the book is delivered by the author to the editor for the editorial process, and it is called, that draft of the book is called a manuscript or a typescript. Manuscript, the word comes from something which is written manually by hand. From there comes the word manuscript. So this is actually a draft of the book. And in the third stage is where we see the presence of a copy editor. And copy editor edits this transcript during the third stage. So the first stage, the planning and writing is done by the author. And in the second stage, the draft of the book is delivered by the author to the editor. And in the third stage, copy editor does the work. And in this lecture, we are mainly dealing with three types of typescripts. One is hard copy typescript, second one electronic typescript, and the third one is author generated camera ready copy. So these are the three types of typescripts. What is a hard copy typescript, or it is also known by the name word processor printout? So this is actually a print copy. It is something like typewriter produced copy, or it can be even, as I said earlier, it can be even handwritten manuscript copy. And most of the hard copy typescripts are prepared by author using word processors. And the major benefit of typescripts prepared on word processor is that if the copy editor has an opportunity to look carefully at the typescript at an early stage, he can get it corrected then and itself. So it is something which is prepared by the author using word processor, and when author use their systems knowledgeably and the printers provide clear output, and when the author have followed any publisher's specifications for general layout and style, there are many respects in which typescripts prepared in this way are easier for the copy editor to work with than the typewriter produced copy. So as I said earlier, the major benefit of this TypeScript is like the copy editor gets an opportunity to look carefully at this copy and make corrections then itself. And even he can ask, he can request, copy editor can request corrected pages from the author. So some of the traditional copy editorial headaches and problems of presentation can be eliminated before copy editing begins. For instance, One can ask author to provide double-spaced copy for notes or bibliography. Bibliography is actually a list of references which author gives in his text. So this copy editor can ask for a double-spaced copy or bibliography, and he can ask the author to integrate several sections, or he can even ask the author to subdivide. So these are the benefits of using a TypeScript, a hard copy TypeScript with the use of word processor. So by using the word processor's facilities, the author can be asked to make some changes, as I said earlier, can be asked to make some changes of this sort and to provide an entirely new printout before copy editing begins. And we should remember that once copy editing has begun, this copy editor or the author is not supposed to generate and send updated pages to substitute, because as I said earlier, the copy editorial process has already begun and he will be doing it on the original sheets, and if the author comes with next set of corrections, it will actually lead to confusion. So once the copy editing process has begun, you should ask the author not to generate or send updated pages. And one of the biggest problem with hard copy transcript is that there is something like a quite natural assumption that a beautifully produced and printed copy is error free, or it is completely correct. So that is actually the power of the printed image, which can assert itself to everyone's disadvantage. So when you see a beautifully printed copy, you may assume that it is completely free of any mistakes. So that is a kind of a disadvantage of a hard copy TypeScript. And another disadvantage is like all those minuscule superscript not numbers. So these are the note numbers given above the words, superscript not numbers. So this minuscule superscript note numbers produced by some printers are difficult to see and therefore time consuming to locate and check. So that is also one of the disadvantage of a hard copy transcript. And what is a second one? It is electronic TypeScript. What is a electronic TypeScript? So it is all those electronic files prepared by the author and sent to the publisher on disk, or as you know, it can be a file given through CD-ROM, or by some form of electronic file exchange through an email attachment or server. Although authors may be tempted to think that the file alone is sufficient, it is important for the publisher to insist that the author submits an identical hard copy as a verification of exactly what should be included. So when you give an electronic TypeScript, it is ideal for the author to present a hard copy, the identical hard copy of the electronic TypeScript. And the files may be dealt with in any of several ways. It can be processed by a typesetter as they are, with little or no copy editing, or design copy edited and designed on a hard copy printout and then corrected by the author before being processed by a typesetter. So it can also be copy edited and designed on a hard copy printout and then corrected by a typesetter before being processed. So these are the different ways these files can be dealt. And the last one is it can be copy edited, corrected and possibly even designed on screen before being processed by a typesetter. So this is the process which this electronic typescript goes through. So it can be copy edited on a hard copy printout and then corrected by the author before going for a typesetter. Second one, it can be copy edited, designed on a hard copy printout and corrected by the typesetter before being processed. Third one, copy edited, corrected and even designed on screen before the whole thing goes to the typesetter. And electronic files produced in a typesetting programming language. So these are the two programming languages. These are one is we will discuss uh, other programming languages later. So this is one of them, and the major one, text or latex, which is designed to help authors to make key complicated mathematics and are widely used by academicians. So this is the programming language used by academicians. It is known as text or latex. So there is text, prof, loud, XSL are the popular typesetting programming languages. And as I said earlier, LaTeX appears to be the choice of many editors. So the publisher can give the author macros that adapt these programs to a particular house style or series style. So we discuss all these things, macros, house style, series style in the later lectures too. So please remember that this is the programming language used by the copy editor or used for typesetting. And the last one is author generated camera ready copy. So it is also known as CRC, camera ready copy, or it is known by the name print ready files. So camera ready copy is prepared by the author to the publisher's specifications, and it is presented alternatively and more frequently these days as fully corrected files that are ready for printing. So it is a material that is presented to the publisher as electronic file of a specialized typesetting packages which often require no further corrections. So that is why it is known as camera ready copy or print ready file. So copy editor need not do much work in that copy. So in the past, author-generated copy was accepted by the publishers largely because of the convenience and the cost savings of having the author act as typesetter, sometimes with little regard to the quality of the design or resolution of the output. So to save money, and it was more convenient to use this author generated copy because it need not have many corrections, so it doesn't demand much work from the copy editor. So the term camera ready copy was originally coined because the manuscript was sent to a printer to be photographed for offset printing. So the only job is to get it into print. So the term is still used, but we either print or create a copy printing plate directly from electronic or hard copy version, and it is very useful in preparing documents for e-publishing that contain complicated mathematical equations and illustrations. And talking about typesetting programming language, as I said earlier, text is one of the popular typesetting programming language. It is used among academic authors and is designed to enable them to uh, write all those complicated mathematics. There are other typesetting programming languages such as Quack, Express, Ventura, and PageMaker. So these are described as publishing programs, and LaTeX is the most preferred language, and many advantages are there for the LaTeX. It includes that first one is any text editor program can be used to revise the file, and the format used by LaTeX is consistent, and also the program is available freely to the users. So these are the advantages of LaTeX. So it can be revised using any text editor, and the format is consistent. Along with that, this program is freely available. And some general rules for creating camera ready copy. So these are the rules for creating camera ready copy. So camera ready copy actually help us to integrate text with art and tables. It also ensure appropriate spacing between lines as per the guidelines. It also follows standardized trim sizes for artworks. It uses a convenient page maker program, PageMaker, Ventura, Chalk, Express or LaTeX, and it adds page number and identifiers. It also begins chapters on new pages, manages page alignment and design specifications, all those running heads, page numbers and more. And it also cite figures consecutively. So these are the advantages of a camera ready copy. And also it checks for any missing or duplicated material. It checks for camera ready formatting. It also follows rules for submissions, copy editing and proofreading, also rules for preparing artworks and illustrations. So camera ready copy prepared by the author to the publisher's specifications or presented alternatively and more frequently these days, as I said earlier, as fully corrected files are actually ready for printing. So this may be dealt in one of two ways. It can be sent for film and printing in case of CRC, camera ready copy, or simply printing in the case of electronic files after minimal copy editing and design. As I said earlier, it needs only minimum copy editing and perhaps just a proofread, and it can be also dealt in this way. It can be fully copy edited and designed on a first draft, after which a final version is submitted by the author. So I should conclude saying that it is essential to know that before beginning work on any transcript, you should know exactly your role. Also, you should know which production route will be followed, who will be followed, who will be responsible for making copy editorial changes to the files, and whether you are expected to correspond directly with the author or through the publisher. So, one of the keys to a successful copy editing stage is effective communication between the copy editor, author or typesetter and the publisher. So there should be an effective, meaningful communication between these people to produce a a copy or produce the final product. So you need to know the production route, who will be followed, who will be taking in charge of these things, who will be responsible for doing all those copy editorial changes, and who will you communicate all these things. So this should be clear before beginning your work. So in this class we were dealing with three types of typescripts. TypeScript is something which the copy editor works on, and it can be in three different forms. One is hard copy, second is electronic, and third one is camera ready copy. So I hope these terms are clear. If you have any doubts, please feel free to contact me. So thank you girls. Have a nice day.